excited to have as my guest Tammy Dungan. Tammy is a wellness coach, and she's been practicing for a while. I'm not exactly sure for how long, but her journey to this practice that she's established is really important. She works both privately with clients and corporately with organizations that need wellness coaches. What organization doesn't need a wellness coach, right? There's a good question. So Tammy, welcome. So glad to see you again.
Glad to be here.
You and I first met just a few months ago at a Seroptimist meeting, and if we have time towards the end, maybe we can talk a little bit about the important work that's going on with Seroptimist. Now, Tammy, you told me that you got Lyme disease at one point, and this was kind of what led to your journey of first getting quite ill, but then repairing yourself through a number of steps that you had to take. Would you like to talk about that?
Absolutely. My first kind of delve into wellness really did start when I got Lyme disease. I was working just prior to COVID. I was working long hours at my job. I was working for a startup tech company, and we worked a lot of hours, and I was employee number 2.
Startup tech, stop right there, because those are, what, 18-hour days, sometimes 6 days a week, sometimes
nonstop. And you're every role, right?
Oh,
you
wow.
wear many hats.
Okay.
So I was employee number 2 when I started with the company, and I was there for almost 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And I rose up in the ranks and went to senior management and had a team under me, and I was doing a lot of traveling every month down to Baltimore, was doing some trainings here and there, doing a lot of dealing with some kids at home as well, and then COVID hit, of course. Just before that hit, actually, my husband and I decided that we wanted to start a mobile stand-up paddleboard business because we wanted to get outside. I wanted to be more energetic and just spend more time with the family. And as we started doing that, it was great. The first summer was a little kind of touch and go, as any business really is. And then I injured myself because I went from sitting for 14 hours a day to, now I had to maneuver paddle boards that were 12, 14 foot long. Plus I had to also wash those after the fact. And I had to, take people out on sunset tours and paddle miles. And I had the shortest board out of all of them, so I had to paddle harder. I ended up
it's a vigorous
myself.
sport, first of all, right? And it
is.
takes somebody who's in pretty strong condition. And if you went from sitting, or if you had a standing desk, standing, but not moving all that much, to being very active. And
yeah, so I was outside quite a bit, but I still had high stress, and then COVID hit, and we still had our paddleboard business. And it started to actually do really well during COVID because everyone could get outside 6 feet apart on the water and just enjoy being outside. So that was great, but I had my injuries, and I just went from multiple different places to try to figure that out in the off season.
so the injuries that you sustained were while you were paddleboarding.
Yes.
And do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? Like, did you throw your back out?
Yeah,
or
so in paddling, you have to do a lot of core strength, right? In sitting and or even standing, you don't always really engage your core. So as paddling, I ended up taking from my middle finger all the way up to my neck one time when we were paddling, and I could just feel that I really did some damage, but I was out in the middle of the water.
So you had to...
I had to get back.
Right.
So, then I went from specialist to specialist trying to figure out what the problem was after the season had ended. And they would say, yep, there was some issues that were there. I think I had 3 bulging discs in the middle of my back. I had a bony island, which is like a chip of my vertebrae. But they weren't going to do surgery or anything like that. They said, well, it's not really anything we can do. It might just get reabsorbed, and we can give you pain medication, but that's about it. And then I still had swelling down into my knee and my left elbow, and it just didn't make any sense why it kept swelling. So
did they have you do physical therapy as well?
I had to go to physical therapy to help with some of the aches and pains. I was going to just different specialists for the knee. Yep, I also had a tear in my meniscus in my knee, but again, I couldn't do surgery on it because it was on the inside, so it didn't make sense. No one could figure out what was wrong with my elbow, why it was swelling, and the knee would just swell kind of halfway through the day and just seem to get larger. And then at night, by the next day, it would get a little bit better.
So this is while you're in lockdown with COVID and you're doing the 14-hour days. which doesn't really make sense that all of a sudden it would just start swelling. And were you icing it and doing all of those things that you need to do to reduce swelling? Of
yes,
course,
of course, you know, and physical therapy was helping quite a bit because they would do dry needling and other things. But then on top of that, I also seemed to get a lot of just aches and pains. Like I had arthritis really bad, and it just continuously got worse and worse, where I felt like I was becoming mummified. There was one day where I actually went from my second floor bedroom down to the kitchen, and I had to kind of go down on my bum to get downstairs because I couldn't really walk. Like it was, the whole left side of me was just swollen and really aggravated. And it would take a long time for me to actually get out of bed. But one morning, I actually could not even open my jaw to eat my breakfast. So overnight, it felt like the tension was just so tight that my jaw wouldn't open.
And this was because of the stress, do you think, mostly for the job, the tech position that you were working, the startup?
I think it was the perfect storm, actually. I think it was the high stress job, the trying to start a business, COVID hitting, and menopause kind of stroked me early too. So I had a lot of things happening externally, internally, and it wasn't until I really went to a naturopath that they gave me a diagnosis of Lyme.
Okay. But you said primarily, though, you started with Western doctors, Western medicine, and the doctors, what was their response? What did they say to you?
I did. So I went to my regular primary care like most people do, and I initially thought that maybe I did have Lyme disease because I was outside.
Well, everybody pretty much has Lyme disease in this area,
They
right?
do. Yeah. They do. And so they did the standard Western blot, which is about 8 different types of Lyme, and it came back negative. I never had any signs of a bullseye, any bites or anything like that. It was basically just that I had all of these symptoms and no one can really figure out what the root cause was. So my primary care had taken and gave me a referral to a rheumatologist.
Okay.
So I saw a rheumatologist, and that was good for a little bit. They said, yep, okay, they did blood work, and that's when they said I also had spondyloarthritis. Which is a very debilitating form of arthritis, where your joints and every joint just basically gets inflamed and swollen, and it's not the worst kind. Ankylosing spondyloarthritis is actually the worst, where your bones will actually fuse together, and they really do seem like they are mummified. Your body just cannot move. It becomes like in cement. And I felt like that's what I had, because every day it would take me a half an hour to get moving in the morning. Take a hot shower, do some gentle yoga. Couldn't wait to get to physical therapy for them to do dry needling and other things. So it was good that I had that diagnosis, but when I went to the rheumatologist, they just wanted to give me some drugs and said, well, okay, I see that you have this, so you also have injuries, and we're going to, do what we can. We're going to put you on something. And this was right before my vacation that I was going on with the family to Florida. So I went on this medication for, about a month or so, and it still wasn't helping. Like the swelling and everything just kept coming back. My knee was like double its size, and then it started going down to my ankle, because everything's
so curious. It's just not textbook at all, right?
Right.
And you'd think if you were on vacation in Florida with family and friends that you would just start to relax, the symptoms would diminish, and all of a sudden you'd be like, hey, I'm me again, but that didn't happen.
I was in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair?
I was in a wheelchair at Disney.
A water coach is in a wheelchair now. Okay.
Yeah. So my kids actually really loved it because we got first dibs in every line because I was in a wheelchair.
Well, that's the secret for
That's
Disney.
the secret. I said next time someone else is going to be in the wheelchair.
Yeah, no kidding. It's not much fun. But they actually are quite comfortable. When I worked in the hospital, we used to sit in the wheelchair when we had conferences. We'd sit in the wheelchairs. I think this isn't a bad seat. So,
right? Yeah. Someone pushing me around. It wasn't too bad, actually. Better than trying to walk with a boot and all other kinds of things. But when I got back from that vacation, though, I did call up the rheumatologist's office, and I demanded that I speak to the actual head rheumatologist doctor instead of his practitioner, because I said I was starting to come up upon the start of my paddleboard business again and needed to get better. And so luckily he was great, and he said, just, you've got some issues, we can switch off your medication, I can put you on something else, but you'll get cancer probably in 5 years. So
none of the suggested for treatments, for remedies sound good, right?
That was not going to happen for me. So I asked about holistic alternatives and food changes and other things, because on my own I really did start to journal about what I was eating, what I was doing, how I was reacting, how I was feeling every day. And then I could start to see some patterns. And so I really did a lot of research on foods. And
so what was your pattern? What were you seeing? You were drinking too much coffee, I remember you saying one time.
I was drinking too much coffee at one point when I was like really, really high stress. So I had to cut out a lot of caffeine. I found that sugar was really bad for me. Gluten is very bad when you have Lyme disease. It actually exacerbates a lot of the arthritic symptoms. So I had to do a lot of my own research. But luckily, my rheumatologist was good and said, just throw out a wide net and see what you can find, right? Like, I'm open to whatever else you want to try besides doing this. And so it took me about maybe 9 months after that initial consultation with him of me doing things on my own and working with the naturopath that gave me the diagnosis of Lyme disease with a rare form to get better.
Okay. So you went from having Lyme disease and the doctor gave you prescriptions, and was there a problem with the prescriptions ever? You said the one prescription would cause you cancer in 5 years. Any other?
So I had a stack of them. They were all different kinds. I had to take medication to sleep. I had to take medication to be awake and alert for work, because I still had to keep working during this process. I just had to take various different meds for, it seemed like, every function that I needed to do. And then I slowly had to weed myself off of what it was that
And what was the doctor's response to you saying, I'm going to take this, or I'm not going to take this? Or
Well, he told me, just kind of wean yourself off of them. And that's what I did. I definitely made sure that I was working within his kind of time frame of when I should be releasing things and cutting things out, but I would go back to see him like every couple months or so just to do check-ins. And then I was so excited that one day I could go in there and actually be like, okay, I'm not taking any medication and I'm feeling great, and my C-reactive protein, which is a sign of inflammation, was actually normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And what do you attribute that to?
I mean, I attribute that to lifestyle changes.
Okay.
I had to change what I was eating. I had to do some gentle yoga and exercise regularly. I had to try to remove any toxins that I was exposed to. And I also needed to just get rid of the parasites that I had developed with the Lyme disease.
Within your body. Okay. So let's talk about environment. What are some important things that all of us can take away from this as far as what we should know about what we should do for our environment?
I mean, we've all heard it in the news lately, is not drinking from plastic bottles or just using plastic cutting boards because it's not good for our brains. Just being mindful of what it is that you're eating. A lot of processed foods. Don't eat anything from bags or boxes that have a lot of chemicals in them.
Okay.
And eating grass-fed meats.
And if you eat meats, eat grass-fed meats, right?
Yes, yep, and even fish. Like, make sure that it's not farm-raised fish.
Interesting. Staying hydrated, I would think, would be really important too.
Staying hydrated is important as well. Yeah.
And then the psychological component of it, of just staying positive, like having some mantras that are self-affirming. Is that part of it too?
It is. I did struggle for quite some time. Like I said, I got to the point where it was a real struggle for me to get out of bed because I wasn't sleeping at night. I felt like I was sleeping on a bed of nails at night, and then I'd wake up and it would be like Groundhog Day. So with the lack of sleep, of course, I had anxiety from that, plus work. So it wasn't until probably about a year ago, really, that I kind of started incorporating some meditation and affirmations into my daily practice so that I could really start to improve my own mindset, because it can be really daunting. I mean, I was at the point where I was just wishing for the end of my life. I mean, it was bad.
And how old were you at this time?
I think I was around, it was probably about just over 3 years ago, 4 years ago now. So I was probably just before 50.
Wow. And that's a young, relatively young woman, right? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You've been through a lot. And then simultaneously, though, you have children, teenage children, and they've got their own set of needs, and you want to attend to them and be present for them and support them in their process. And you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just every day when you have children, it is a thing that you have to be mindful of, so that you can be positive for them. And doing meditation for me has done wonders for me. You know?
Tell me about your meditation practice. How do you do that? What is that like?
So my meditation practice is basically, I get up in the morning and I will have my breakfast first, and then I go down, and I've created a nice quiet space in my home. So I can go in there and play some soft music. I can play some certain mantras that I listen to, and then I journal after. And it's my own quiet space where I can just do some introspection. I can reflect on things. I can, do any prayers that I want to do during that time. And it really helps to set the mindset of a positive for the day. Your
intentions and deciding how you're going to present yourself in whatever situation or experience you might have during that day.
Absolutely. Because through some of this too, I mean, I've also come across where I've had some deep-seated traumas in my life, and that probably was contributing to a lot of the stress that I was having in my everyday life with my family and with my spouse, of course, and my job. So, sometimes you don't realize that you have those traumas within you, and you just need to be able to have some space to be able to do your own inner work.
And what do you find the most helpful? Is it the meditation practice, do you think, or the journaling part of it, or
I think it's
the reflection of it after you've done those two things?
I think it's a combination. You can probably get away with one or the other, but I try to combine them as much as possible together, because I feel like it helps to boost the vibration if you're doing more reflection for yourself.
And do you do this all by yourself? Do you share your writing and journaling with somebody else? Are you part of a group that does this, or do you do this just for you, in your moment, in your space?
I do it for myself, but I also have some women's groups. Like, I'm doing a social circle at the town that is going to incorporate some of that self-care and a little bit of meditation for people to be able to also benefit from it. Because meditation can actually help with our brains to grow and get more blood flow and just increase our mindset.
Totally, right. Yeah. I went to Insight Meditation up in Massachusetts for a week, and it was a silent meditation, which was an amazing experience, and I'd never done that. And it was so interesting to talk about the pain that you would have, because they wanted you to sit in the lotus position and then not move, and they said 3 times and you're out, and you'd sit there for an hour. So really trying to just kind of settle into that practice of doing that. And then just the breathing part of it. So it's also informative, and it's just so nice to be able to become more and more aware of who we are in this place, in this universe, in this space, right? And
absolutely.
How we're going to feel it. So, wow, that's quite a journey.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
So, but you're back up paddleboarding again, or?
Nope. So I ended up closing the paddleboard business, and we had some trouble with our vehicle and things like that. So it just wasn't really what I was meant to do, I felt like. So through my journey, I really did some education on autoimmune disease nutrition, and I found that was something that was really helpful to me, just to know what things to eat, what not to eat, and also took a course on menopause too, because I had struggled with a lot of hormonal changes that were happening to me at that time too.
Well, the interesting thing to me is that Western medicine, typical doctors weren't really able to offer you advice or counsel or put you in the right direction of healing yourself. and it was a journey. It took a long time, in my opinion. It took a long time for you to find what you needed to get to be able to be where you needed to be, right?
It did. It took almost 3 years.
That's a long time to not feel well, and to have it just be like a reduction of things that you were taking out of you, not really even added anything in, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Yeah.
What does not kill us makes us stronger.
There you go. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so you are available for people if they would like to pursue what you are offering, because you are offering services to people as a wellness coach, helping people. You're doing it at the corporate level. Do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. So I started doing some corporate training that is really focusing on the sleep stress management side of things, because if we're not sleeping, that is the foundation for everything. Our brains and our bodies are detoxifying during certain periods of time during the evening.
We need to rest, right? We need to rest.
We need to rest and recharge. And if we're not doing that, then it's really hard for us to function in any other areas of our life. And everyone seems to think that if we are if we're not sleeping, that's okay. We can just make up for it on the weekend, or it's a waste of time. And it's really not. It's one of the most important things that you need to do for yourself and your own self-care and everyone else that's around you. So that, and then the stress management side of things, to really bring forward the importance of stress reduction and giving some tools to be able to manage your stress when you're at work, when you're at home. It's not always about work. We also have stressors outside of our jobs, but just some simple techniques like breath work and meditation and other techniques that can help. And then of course that can flow into a little bit of time management and goal setting too, because you got to have something to look forward to in life, whether it's just, I'm going to go on vacation, or I want to go to some special place or dinner out with your spouse in a month, right? Sometimes you need those.
So some goal setting is what I'm hearing you say, then also a balance of work, play, and rest, right? So have your work, have your fun, and then also provide yourself the rest that you need to have to be able to heal, to function, right? Oh boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how is this received? Do people are like, oh, I know that already, it's just a matter of doing it? How do you get them?
It's been good, actually. I think people are surprised at some of the simple techniques that they can do to really calm down their nervous system and get back into a good flow.
Do you think that people are in a heightened nervous systems are heightened currently because of turmoil that's going on in our world right now, or do you think it's business as usual?
I think it is heightened because there's a lot of uncertainty going on these days, but also there's a lot more stress around social media. So before, right, you weren't always able to see that things were going on outside the world, but now like everything is brought to you instantaneously on your palm, right? And you can see it on the TV. It's just everywhere.
Well, and I was reading recently that somebody was suggesting just even like putting your phone down, or hiding alerts, or not being so aware, or not having it present with you all the time, just as a healing technique or strategy, and allowing family members perhaps just say, I'll see you in a couple of hours, and almost meaning like, you don't need to text me between now and then unless it's an emergency, right? Like we can catch up.
Right. It's like putting your phone down and putting it on vacation, right? You should definitely do that at least a few hours before you go to bed, because the blue lights, because the social media.
Tell me about blue lights. What do you know?
Blue lights they act and can really trigger some things that make you think like you're awake. So it's almost like you've got you're outside, but you're really not. So it tricks your brain into thinking that you should be up a little bit longer. So,
and we all know we need rest. Yeah. What do you recommend? How many hours of rest a night?
7 to 9 hours, they say, depending.
Okay. Depending upon who you are. Yeah.
Exactly.
Some people require more sleep.
Yes.
Okay.
Teenagers definitely require more.
You don't have teenagers anymore, right? I mean, they're
I have one teenager still, but some
they're
of them
moving out
still.
of their teens. Yeah. Yep. So so then you also do the private practice, and tell me about that. How do you get people to find out about you? You're on Facebook, LinkedIn, you have a YouTube channel.
I have a website.
And you're Limitless Ladies.
Yep, Limitless Ladies Network. Trying to build a holistic network of practitioners, but also of regular women that can kind of learn holistic self-care and advocacy.
So tell me how it works. I text you, call you, message you, and you'll say, hey, and tell me what's
Any of the above, really.
Okay.
And then we just kind of have an initial consultation to see if we really work together and what I can provide is going to be beneficial. And then we kind of work out like a 6-week program of how we can help change a little bit at a time, because it's not like a cut off. You can't have these things because no one likes that.
Right.
And nor is it really a good sustaining habit to do it that way anyway. But then we work together to, make some lifestyle changes that can benefit. And if that works, then maybe we continue working again.
So do you have like a questionnaire kind of thing, or what is your process? Is there
Yeah, so usually go through a questionnaire just to kind of highlight some of the things of what it is that person might be doing, how they're sleeping, how they're eating, what types of things do they eat, who cooks in their households, what types of things are they exposed to, what do they do for a job. Some people might be landscapers and they're dealing with a lot of pesticides, right? And that can be a problem.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's also fascinating, isn't it? So. And you've written something, you're in a book as part of an anthology. It's called She Glows. And when was this published?
This was just published in May of this year.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, yeah. So it was great to write.
You have a chapter in there, and your chapter is entitled A Holistic Journey from Lame to Limitless.
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that chapter.
So that chapter kind of goes over my struggles, similar to what we talked about here, and gives a little bit of inspiration for women to know that they can continue going on. It's not the end of the world. And
well, that's one thing I think that's really important. Everyone has probably experienced at some level, not your personal experience, but at some level, in some way, at some part, some of what you had, right?
Right.
So you can teach, you can help them to prevent some of that, right? Or know which pathway to go down to expedite their healing process.
Absolutely. I mean, because it is building a team of people. And that's pretty much what I had to do on my own, is work with a rheumatologist, work with my primary care, go to the physical therapist, go for, the chiropractor could do certain things, and she was great as well. So I had a lot of, and the naturopath, and my own lifestyle changes that I was making, and doing yoga. So it's a lot of different people that you need to kind of pull in at different times to help you get through that process.
Do you have that team then that works with whoever?
I do. I have a team of people that I know and I can refer to, and I've referred several people. I also have some of the women that are on my directory. Most of them I've actually used myself with services for yoga to help to reduce some of that inflammation and do some stretching and stress reduction as well. A bioenergetics practitioner who I absolutely love.
What is a bioenergetics practitioner?
Yeah, so that works with all of the acupuncture points that you have in your body, and she simply takes a hair sample and can run basically all of those acupuncture points and tell you where things are off balance.
Interesting.
And that's how you can find out if there's any diseases, inflammations in any area. And then she provides some homeopathic tinctures and medicine that can help. Not really medicine, I guess, tinctures.
Tinctures, okay. And what's the difference, explain the difference between homeopathic and holistic.
I think of holistic as looking at the whole body. So we're looking at someone in what they're doing for their work, what they do for sleep, what they do for their food that they eat, what types of environment and relationships that they're in. So that's more looking at the holistic view. Are they exercising?
Exercise is important too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And homeopathics is really pulling together any like herbs and things like that that can actually help with any symptoms that you're having. So that's more of like the, for lack of a better term, medicinal, although it's not medicine. It's herbal medicine, really. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's also fascinating. So, and you and I first met at a Seroptimist meeting. And why did you join Seroptimist? Why is that so important to you? Because you really do, it appears to me that you really value what Seroptimist does for women.
So Seroptimist is basically an international organization that is helping to educate women and young girls so that they can get the training that they need for better economic empowerment. And that, is important, I think, for any young girl these days to be able to know that they have that ability to, reach their dreams. They're not limited in any way. And Seroptimus, we have a couple of different programs that we do. It's the Live Your Dream program, which helps young girls. We do a program we've done at Eastern Connecticut State University, bringing in a bunch of students there and kind of, doing some fun things with them, letting them see the university. And then we also do a scholarship that is the Live Your Dream.
Nice.
And that helps to give to a woman that's in need, that is head of household and is continuing her education, so that she can use that for books or gas or anything to make sure that she can get the education that she needs to empower herself. So, I think it's a very worthwhile organization. I've had some family members that have suffered through domestic violence, because we help women through that as well, and sexual assault. So, those are things that have been situations that have occurred to either myself or close family members and friends as well. So, I just think it's really important that we bring awareness to some of those things, and we help the women that need the support.
Wow, that's powerful. That's very powerful. Okay, so we can find you on LinkedIn, we can find you on YouTube, you have a podcast, you're on Facebook. So Tammy Dungan, Dungan, Limitless Ladies Network to Thrive. And it's not just about survival. I like that you said to thrive. To thrive is really to grow and to become and be who you wanted to be. What did you want to be when you were a little girl? What did you say? What did you think?
I actually thought I would be a teacher. So
well, I didn't kind of teaching, coaching.
I am teaching. So I did a lot of corporate training for that whole time that I did tech startup, pretty much.
Okay.
And so I think with that was my way of really getting fully into teaching at the adult level, and I really liked that. So coaching seemed to be, and then corporate training seems to be like the proper pathway.
Yeah, seems like you're doing it. You're living your dream for yourself. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Okay, let's do a speed round. Ready?
Okay.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Smooth or bumpy?
Smooth.
Sweet or sour?
Sweet.
Fresh or frozen?
Fresh.
I knew that one, right? Yeah, short or long?
Oh, short.
Okay. What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Gluten-free.
Gluten-free pizza. Favorite fruit?
Strawberry.
Favorite month?
August.
Favorite sport?
Oh, paddleboarding.
Paddleboarding, of course, yeah.
Of course.
And you still do paddleboarding? Are you out there? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
So you've actually regained all of your strength, your muscles in your arm, your left arm that you indicated was having difficulty, your left knee that had gotten so swollen. Everything's back to normal?
Yeah, my knees are still a little off because I've got that tear in my meniscus, and I did have some actually with my right knee as well. But for the most part, I'm in pretty decent shape.
That's
I am
amazing.
actually a brown belt in Krav Maga self-defense, actually. So yeah.
Look out.
That's right.
You are a limitless lady. So, well, you've been absolutely amazing. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? I think people know where to go to find you. I think people will find you delightful and informative. And
yeah, this was great.
Yeah,
and if anyone wants to get the book, they can get it at
you said Barnes and Noble, Books a Billion,
anywhere you can pretty much get your book. So,
yeah. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for being a guest.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been great.
Lovely. Yeah.
Thanks.